Okay, can we please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Want to sign in? Just can you just sign it and pass it to me when you're done?
Sure. Peter.
Anybody wishing to speak, please sign up. Thank you.
Can you pass that to me, Drew? Thank you. All right, we'll start with the public portion. Paul Bergadamo, is that?
You know what, they called today?
Yeah.
Their attorney, and they asked me to put them on the agenda.
But they're not.
I think there was a misunderstanding. They were notifying, if you'll see it in Lazy Point, under new business,
Okay.
it's C. They are selling their house,
Okay.
and they're just notifying the trustees. But
Alright.
we haven't received any kind of documentation from the buyer yet. So I think there was a misunderstanding that they thought they had to come. So I don't think they're going to be here.
All right, so we're not
I
ready.
never heard back.
All
from
right,
the attorney.
thank you.
Yeah.
Peter Mendel.
We're on the agenda. I don't want to disrupt your agenda.
No, it's fine.
Rick, it's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Come on up.
Peter Mendelman. Is that all right?
Yep.
Just wanted to mention that we submitted an application for a emergency bulkhead repair at Gardner's Marina. The western side of our basin the bulkhead is really starting to lean over. We first noticed it after Hurricane Sandy and applied for a grant. The grant is in process pending approval from the trustees and from East Hampton Town. The portion of the bulkhead repair that is in trustee jurisdiction is an 18-foot return. The portion that is being repaired is about 130 feet inside the basin on the west side of the basin, and that's the part that's leaning over quite a bit. The pilings are actually like this. The old bulkhead or the existing bulkhead is treated wood, treated pilings, treated sheathing, treated whalers. It will be replaced with untreated greenheart wood, vinyl sheathing, and it's going basically back in place in kind. Hopefully, if there are any questions, we can answer them, but it should be fairly straightforward. The DEC approval is in place, and that's it. And the only other topic was we did submit our revised dock agreement, did the calculations for 3 Mile. If there's any questions on that, happy to answer them either now or later, whenever.
Okay. All right, so this is the application. You 3 Mile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And just in terms of timing, we're hoping to start construction sometime after October 15th.
Okay.
The boat should be leaving, but to start construction, we have to order materials. To order materials, we have to get the grant approved. So we're kind of feeling a little bit under the gun. I probably should have been in front of you months ago. But it's been a busy summer and just haven't gotten in front of you.
I'll come down tomorrow and take a look at it.
Excellent.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? No?
No. If we have any questions on this, we'll give you a call, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, Peter. Drew Bennett?
I'm also
behalf of the Lionhead Beach Association.
Okay.
And we're also on the agenda. I don't know if you want to talk about it now or should we wait to the agenda?
Yeah, no, go right ahead.
Okay, so we had submitted an application to replace three sections of existing bulkhead. And one section 75 linear feet. This is steel bulkhead that's within the Hog Creek Inlet, as well as on the western flank of the Hog Creek Inlet. So one section is 75 linear feet long, one section is 110. And the third section, that's replacement, is 210 linear feet. And we proposed a 20-foot extension landward on the western flank, and that's basically, so this is the inlet here, the hatched areas. Can I approach?
Mm-hmm.
So here's Hog Creek Inlet, Clearwater Beach is on this side. The parking area, this is the Marina facility here. This is the end of Bay Inlet Road. So this is an existing steel bulkhead.
Mm-hmm.
Sections of it are in not so great condition, so we're preparing permit applications now for replacement of the worst parts. So there's a 75-foot section here, 110-foot section here, and 210-foot section here, plus a proposed 20-foot extension that's landward of that. And
That's what repair is about.
So what is the purpose of the extension
so
of the return?
extension is during some of the more recent heavy storms that we've had, whether they be nor'easters or sandy events, is that they've had a flanking of the bulkhead itself. So in other words, water's washed around the end of it and scouring out sand behind it. So the owners would like, and I think it's a good idea, to extend it to try to minimize that so that we don't have flanking of the bulkhead. As you know, when the water gets behind a bulkhead like that, it's not good for it. It basically weakens the bulkhead.
How many times has that been extended?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know I did work for them, I'm gonna say probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Mhm.
That's the first time I was involved with it, so.
Yeah, I'm just wondering when the extensions end.
Well, that's a fair question.
Yeah.
20 feet, I mean, it's your call, but I
Mhm.
think it's a fairly minimal.
Mhm.
Because, you know, as seasons continue to rise, I mean, you could see the bulkhead be out there where it currently is forever, and that keep extending it, and then you're gonna, you know,
Yeah.
just kind of an endless.
The only,
Unsustainable
my
from
only
there.
response to that would be that the bulkhead itself has a certain limited life. So at some point, you know, it's designed to last 20, 25 years. So at that point, if sea level changes as we're forecasting, we can adapt, whether it's, you know, reshape it or whatever. So it's not there for perpetuity. It has a certain life to it, so at some point it wears out and we have to
Mhm.
replace it again. And not that I want to kick that decision down the field at that right now, but I think in the near term, it's still a worthy proposal.
And what type of materials are used for the return?
It's all steel
Steel?
sheeting.
Steel sheeting with your whalers,
They're, the whalers are oak. Yeah.
oak whalers,
Yeah.
opposed to greenheart
Yeah.
or
Let's see here. I'll just grab it. Yep. Oak.
oak posts as well.
The posts are greenheart.
From your engineering perspective, Mr. Bennett, do you see, is it feasible to cover that with sand?
It certainly is. In fact,
As
some
an
of the sand.
alternative to extending the return? Heated sand cover?
From my experience, the sand doesn't hold up very well during the big storm events.
Sure, of
and
course,
it would
one big
wash
storm would
away
take it all
and
away.
would be scouring away, so it would not be a suitable substitute, at least to maintain what we have.
And are you proposing to cover the return with sand when it's
Yes.
feasible and
Yes, and
non-storm
as you know,
events?
some of the sand that comes out of the inlet is deposited on this particular beach, and we would continue to make sure that it's covered.
During the annual maintenance
Yeah,
dredging?
The owners don't want to have it exposed any more than the rest of the world.
Of course.
Keep it out of sight. Out of sight, and it's a safety issue.
Safer as
Mhm.
well for the members of the
Very
community?
popular beach.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess the concern is that, you know, increasing structures landward like that then might just bring the scouring further landward.
Well, by not, yeah, but wait a second. By not extending this bulkhead landward, you're ensuring the scouring. So,
Fair
I
enough.
mean, this
Okay.
is,
Yeah,
this is an
It's gonna
attempt
get
to
behind it
mitigate
and
that.
scour
Right.
more, yeah.
Any more questions?
No?
Thank you.
Okay.
What,
Yes,
can we, while Drew's here, rather than have him sit around, can we do Weil at the same time?
Oh, great.
Do we wanna talk
Drew, I
about
got
this
your,
though?
You have that one, right?
I have Weil here.
Maybe before we jump onto that, do we want to finish the discussion on this?
Sure.
It's
Sure,
fine with me.
I mean, it doesn't seem like there's really any other alternative, I guess, because you have a good point that if you don't extend it, it's just going to scour behind the bulkhead, and the problem's going to be just as bad or worse, I guess, as if you extended it. Does anyone else have any other possible alternative to extending that return?
No, personally, I'm fine with it.
No, I think it's a reasonable approach going forward. Is there a timetable for starting the project?
Right now, it would probably be, well, it's always gonna be a winter project, whether it's this winter or the following winter. It's a little bit up in the air at this point. Depends
Now,
on
you
how
have,
everything else falls.
you have your DEC permits on this?
I don't believe so. We've submitted everything, but I don't believe we have the DEC.
Okay.
So would you prefer to wait until you have that before getting ours?
So the trustees don't offer extensions, is that right?
I don't know, do we?
Yeah,
I
no,
don't think so.
It's an annual.
Typically not.
We keep, you could get it.
I mean,
I'd prefer to have it, actually. You know, one of the reasons is when you have an event, whether it
This is
be
all
next week
basically-
or next, or in October or something like that, if you have your permits in place, it's much easier
Yeah,
to
okay.
put yourself back together. So that's sort of the impetus for this. So I would like to,
I guess I have one more question, which is, what is the proposed end of the bulkhead's life? You said before that it has maybe a 25-year
yes,
lifespan.
steel sheeting has a typical life of about 20 to 25 years.
Now, currently, though, I mean, currently as the bulkhead is it going to end its lifespan in 15 years,
The
20
existing
years?
bulkhead you're
Existing
talking about.
bulkhead.
Yeah. What's the age of the existing bulkhead?
It varies. Different pieces have been replaced in different times. So parts of it are relatively new, parts of it are relatively old. I don't have an exact number for you. The sections that we're replacing are the older sections. So they're in the 20-year time frame. So
They're ready. They're ready
yeah,
to be replaced.
yeah. I mean, they're not falling down at this point in time, but the process takes time. They have to get pricing and so on and so forth. So they want to be ready so that they want to wait till it falls down. They want to,
does anybody,
yeah.
does anybody want to make a motion if this application's complete to vote on it now?
Absolutely.
Well,
I'll make a motion.
All right, I'll
have a
second it.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
I think this is reasonable as
You
an
got it.
alternative, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Weil. Weil, this is an application that came before us several months ago. It's for Phragmites removal on Hook Pond.
Georgia Pond.
Georgia, okay, yeah,
Georgia Close.
Georgia Close. Okay, it's a little different than most of our Phragmites removal applications. This one's involving excavation. They do have a decent access into the area. This was something that I looked at last winter, and I don't know, did you go with me on that one?
Yeah, Rick was down there with you.
January, or February.
Okay. Right now, it's predominantly Phragmites. There is a little cattail mixed in with it. There's a somewhat wooded shoreline. It states in the application that around the trees is going to be hand excavated. The area will be made back with sand. What we had been waiting for on this one was a plant, like a detailed plant list, which has been supplied here. I spoke to Drew earlier today. He said that the other issue was they have some existing pool equipment, which is literally, it's pre-existing and it's literally right on the edge of the wetland. We really can't ask them to move it, but what they did offer to do is to move the dry well, which is the important part of this thing, farther away from the pond. But Drew, I'm looking on the plans here. I don't see the existing dry well, and I don't see the location for the new dry
So the
well.
proposed dry well is here, which is
Oh,
100
God, okay.
150 feet from the shoreline.
Nice.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's why I'm not noticing it. It really is back there.
Yeah, that's great.
I think at this point, it satisfied the issues that came up when we originally looked at this.
We went through this pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this tonight, if we've got a completed application.
Yeah, I'd second that.
All in favor?
I like the propensity of the amount of Sportina there. It's going to be nice.
Yeah.
I think it looks fine, and Jim knows anyone here, so.
All right.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Good.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a nice evening.
Okay, move on to new business. Accabonaca Creek, copy of a memo from K. Smith of the New York State Department of State to Supervisor Cantwell, permit modification for dredging at Accabonac Harbor.
Yeah. What they're gonna do here is they wanna go do the same thing we did last year and, from land mechanically excavate about 5,000 yards from the same point we excavated it from, and about 5,000 yards from the point at Gerard Drive.
So from both sides?
From both sides,
And that is in lieu of hydraulic
no,
dredging
I
taking
think
place?
this is in addition to the
In
hydraulic
addition to,
dredging.
so they feel they can be more effective by
Yeah, it's gonna
combining
be- I think it's gonna be
excavating
more effective.
with hydraulic dredging?
The permit itself, it's in discussion right now. I mean, they're talking to the town, the DEC. So we'll keep on top of that.
Is part of this dredging, is there any, are we gonna dredge back to the launching ramp? As part of this?
That was the goal, I
Yeah,
believe.
I think this is in addition to that. Yeah, I mean, this is.
But that is,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
part of this
I don't
permit.
think it's replacing it, it's in addition to it. Yeah, we want to get them to come back as far as they can to beach compatible.
And that was for 2018, that would be for winter
Yeah.
season 2018, if possible.
It may not go exactly to the launching ramp because of the
The bottom land.
compatibility of the bottom, yeah. But they're gonna go as far as they can.
And there is that option of, trying to ask for a betterment, right, and saying, seeing their initial plan and then offering to
Yeah, no,
throw
there's-
some funding their way to extend their work.
Yeah, the discussion.
Well, the only problem is they won't extend their work. If the bottom goes from sandy to more of a
silty,
silt,
Yeah.
Yeah,
they,
won't
it
do
doesn't, they won't,
Even
they
if we
won't
pay them, they
do
won't
it.
do it,
No.
they just.
We don't have a
because,
disposition site.
Disposal is the
We
problem.
don't, yeah,
Yeah.
disposal.
That's one of those things we,
But how do we do it? I mean,
we're gonna get,
We have
we
to do it
should,
ourselves.
we'll have to get the sampling, we should get an estimation of the volume and see if there's, if it's feasible for us to, put it in a pile, let it dry out, maybe.
Bag it, barge it.
It
Or-
might be
don't
something
have
we could
really a
use a
plan in place.
geotube for.
Or we, could basically distribute it in the salt marsh.
I think
That's
the
the way.
salt marsh
You know,
might
they
be a
raise,
really good idea.
they raising these things, but you know what, I think that's gonna require a whole,
Yeah. It might,
Maybe
different,
a second cut.
we gotta pick a spot to put it, but you think that could be done with that 4-inch dredge, right? 4-inch, thing?
yeah, it's gonna be a hydraulic dredge,
Yeah,
yes.
but we were just out in the marshes again today,
Yeah.
with the mosquito thing. So this place is over there that could seriously use some. Because the material, well, I say it's not good for a beach, it's perfect for a marsh. We should try and get it working.
Mm-hmm.
Like identify sites with ditches that should be filled
Yeah,
with it, that
I
kind
mean,
of
we'd
thing?
have to identify an exact site.
Yeah.
You don't want to put it in Hellgate, but one of those places near it,
Mhm.
yeah?
That's a good option then. So do we need to get tests on the
We
sediment?
have to work on it a little bit, but, yeah, we definitely want the ramp. We want want it moved away from the ramp. And
Yeah.
that is a compatible use, we'll have to. It sounds like we're gonna be breaking ground here, so we might have to take a little while.
Right, right. The other consideration here, right, is that the channel at the inlet is so straight that it seems to get, I know that there's been complaints from the public about, the dredging work that was done years ago and how they kind of turned sort of more of a circuitous channel into a really straight channel, and people have complained that that causes, faster sedimentation of the inlet.
Yeah,
So it does, you can actually see it, you can
Is there any way
stand
we
there
can get
and
them
watch.
to, can we get them to return it to a little more curvy of a path?
Well, the only way you're gonna really do that at this point is if you reconstruct that point on the northeast side.
And it'd have to be with some serious stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard people talk, say
Now,
that.
if you put sand
put
out
some
there,
s-
it's just
some
gonna
stones
wash
there
right
to
back
harden
in
the
the
point or
channel.
something, which, we don't like in general, so it's a tough call.
Right.
But it seems like something needs to be done
Yeah.
to stabilize the inlet so it doesn't fill in as fast.
And I mean, for the purposes of their permit, which hopefully they'll do this year or next year, I guess, do you see any objection to it?
No.
No, I have no objection to what they're doing.
I mean, it's, what we're doing is maintenance. We're not
Yeah.
really solving a problem here.
Yeah.
What we're
Yeah.
doing is keeping a channel open.
Move the dredge spoils as far south down the beach as possible, might be helpful,
Yeah, then it won't drift back in there
as
easily.
quickly.
We're
That's
pretty
another
lucky
thing.
to even have them coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I know that's great. I'm just, want to get as much out of the opportunity as possible.
Okay.
All right, we'll take a
Keep
further
on it.
look at the plans and see,
Yeah.
try to get someone to test the
I'll see if I
sediments
can-
there.
New business under beaches, notice of hearing, Village ZBA Summer House 30 LLC.
Now, Lori, that's on for when? Is it September sometime, isn't it?
September 8th.
September 8th. You sent me that while I was away. I haven't had a chance to look at this, but I will look at it between now and the,
Francis, when is the hearing?
September 8th,
yeah. When's our next meeting?
after that.
It's after that.
September 11th.
Yeah.
We might want to talk
I'll,
about that.
Well, what I'll do is I'll look at it,
Mhm.
and if we need to, put together a position on this, we will.
Okay.
If need be, I can always attend.
Well, we talked about doing just a generic letter on most of these, asking that they consider our interest when they,
Yeah, but in order for the ZBA to truly consider our interest, we can't just send a blanket letter to consider our interest. We actually have to take a position then and there. My policy's been on these things is to go look at them. First off, find whether the variances being asked for are in or adjacent to areas of our interest. And if they are not, there's no reason to pursue this, and if they are, there's a reason to either attend the hearing or put a letter in.
with specifics.
well, that's
With specifics.
really the difficult part is, I mean, I think you may have some flexibility in your time, but their hearings are at 11 o'clock on Friday
I know.
mornings, so
Yeah.
it's not
But I can,
convenient for
what's
most
nice,
people.
this time of year I can make it.
Okay. All right, new business, Lazy Point, a memo from,
I'm just gonna interrupt you. I think Mr., and this is for that amount here. If you,
is this the sale?
yeah.
But do we have anything?
Sorry, we went to the old venue.
Oh, here it is.
Oh,
That's okay.
Sorry,
Welcome.
thank you.
Sure. We'll be right with you.
The next one was Casson on Georgia.
In new business?
Yep.
3,
Okay,
Vernon Casson.
I'm just looking for it on here.
May have had a disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect. All right, Casson. Is that you, Jim?
Yep.
Okay.
This is one that Ryan and I looked at this afternoon. We have an application, we have a plan, and what this is simply a cutting. There's an adjacent property, Baynard, which we've issued several permits on for the cutting of Phragmites. Brian and I did look at it. Actually, my only recommendation to the agent on this one was actually to cut more than what they're presently proposing, because the actual site conditions are slightly different than what's described on the survey. The survey shows the patch of Phragmites here and a patch of Phragmites here. The truth of the matter is the Phragmites literally cut right across here, and the applicant is willing to basically get this into a mow program. So if they do, it actually connects up On the north side, it connects up with a property
But the
that's
property is already
being,
permitted?
it's already
Yeah.
being permitted, or is already being cut.
Jim, what's the upland topography like? Is there,
You know, over here, there's more of a pretty sharp shingle to the shoreline, so the grade comes up
Pretty hard.
pretty dramatically. And the buffer in these areas are really a mix of native and non-native
honeysuckle
vegetation.
and,
Honeysuckle and other stuff. I don't think it makes sense to get in there and start removing that. The goal here is obviously, one, access to a boat, and two, the view issues. To me, I think it's a very simple application, and I would recommend that we bring it to a vote tonight and go with it. It's
Okay.
pretty minimally invasive, and
Cutting
It's-
Phragmites.
it's consistent with what we've approved.
Right, well, I'd make a motion that we approve the
Okay,
project,
I'll
given it's
I'd like to
complete,
second that.
you know, subject to standard trustee conditions.
Yeah, well, I looked over the permit, the application seems to be in good order.
I don't see any problems with it. I just love to see people applying to remove Phragmites for reasons other than a view.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, you got it. Lazy Point, Napeag. Why don't we skip down to Mr. Vergadamo?
Okay.
Have you looked at this at all? Who's Lazy Point?
I am.
Jimmy.
Jim?
Have you seen it?
No, I've not.
We didn't get any documentation.
Well, what do we need, Lori?
Well, I mean, we need standard, like, we need identification from buyer, you know, voter's registration, driver's license, affidavit.
Copy of the contract.
Yeah, well, we got the.
We have the contract.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Would anyone care to speak about the proposed transaction?
Should I come here?
Yes, please.
Please.
Hi, I'm Mark Webb. I'm the next door neighbor of the Vergadamos. I'm also a real estate agent, and I represent them on the sale of the property.
Okay.
So they have, they put their house on the market, and they've received a very, very strong offer from Ms. Ho, and she has executed the contract of sale as of they for the amount of $1.21 million. I understand that Ms. Ho has indeed executed her affidavit of domicile. It may not have been received here
Yeah.
as of yet, but after I spoke to you, Lori, I did speak to her, her lawyer and her lawyer's assistant. And so she's executed that, and whatever further documentation is needed, I'm sure they'll get it over to you in due course. I also was advised that the notice in the newspaper, I was advised by the counsel from Mr. and Mrs. Vergadamo, Stephen Grimaldi, that that information was provided to the East Hampton Star this past Friday. So it should appear for, I guess, the first time in this coming Thursday's
Okay.
newspaper. So I guess the purpose tonight is to just make everybody aware that they have received this signed contract. They naturally would very much like to see it go through.
Yeah,
It was head and shoulders above any other offer, and they're hoping that it will be favorably.
yeah, I mean, there are certain time limits and stuff that we have to observe.
Sure.
The process has started now.
Right.
so,
Okay.
Okay.
Terrific. Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mark.
And I'm sure Steve will be in touch with us.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Vergadamo.
All right. Memo from the building inspector, RE sand placement at 393 Cranberry Hole Road.
Yeah, now, I was away when this came in. Lori, what's the deal on this? Is this a case, is this the one with the bags that were placed in, it sounds like illegally?
Well, Francis has all the paperwork.
Just,
It's
yeah,
something that we didn't get, we did not get an application for.
I guess-
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, good luck.
No, that's okay.
Take him
Yeah,
out to dinner, Mark.
Once we get it all done.
See you guys.
Thank you. See you.
Okay, so building inspector is questioning the placement of sand-filled geocubes covering with 1,000 cubic yards of clean sand and a replant on the property. They submitted pictures showing an emergency situation, and they received DEC. Just want to know if they applied to us. And the question is, no.
Okay, well, did they apply to this town either?
I don't know. She's not saying that they have.
And I don't know who the property owner is, so I have, oh,
No.
okay,
The property owner is Nigel Curtis.
that's right. Yeah, Nigel.
So we don't have any applications from him, right?
No.
Can you, we see if the planning department has anything?
What I'll do is, if you can, Francis, can I have that or a copy? If I can get a copy of that, I'll run in and see planning, see what they've got on this.
See Brian.
I very much doubt that they got permits, because I don't think the ZBA would have issued.
The geotubes are supposed to be for 6 months.
Yeah, I don't think they would have
And
issued,
you're
I don't think
only
they would
allowed
have,
to-
I don't think they would have issued the permit for the
You can't, you can only do that if it's Montauk.
I'm gonna just keep quiet on that.
Okay.
Okay,
This is
You want me to contact the planning department to get some more?
Dirtbag Beach North.
Should I contact the planning department to get their address? And-
You know what I can do is, let me go, Lori, I can run this over
Okay,
and speak to Brian or somebody over there.
so then you'll let me.
That's
I'll be
file
very
copy,
surprised
or-
if there's any permits on
It
this.
doesn't sound like something that would be permittable.
is there another copy of that, Lori?
Yeah, we have the, well, that's not the original.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and we have a request from the building inspector for inspection of Devon Yacht Club for issuance of a C of O. This is for trustee permit number 1-16, bulkhead repair, jetty replacement. Replace 160 linear feet of jetty and 320 square feet, linear feet total of bulkheading.
What was the work done?
Well, the permit's from 16, so.
I think this was something that we.
You were there, yeah, Brian was on there.
Yeah, I think we approved this as
Yeah.
completed.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
I was down there when they were doing it, yeah.
Lori,
We
can
signed
you just
off,
check? I think we
signed off on it.
Yeah.
signed off on this as completed.
I
and
do
if-
too.
And if we have, all we need to do is give them a letter that,
Okay, and last thing here is we have the annual dock agreement from Peter, so we'll just review that quick, and I believe that'll be fine. Old business, Georgica Pond dredging, South Inlet, and the emergency opening. So this is where we should discuss the MOU. Okay, you want to do it, Jim, or you want me to do it?
it doesn't matter.
Basically, we've come to an agreement with Georgica Pond for the use of to cross their land while we do the dredging on the south end of Georgica Pond. What we've agreed to is the first year, we will provide 3,000 cubic yards of beach-compatible sand stockpiled for use of Georgica to rebuild the dune area in front of the association property. Should additional sand up to 1,000 cubic yards be required, we will place that on the beach for their access at the cost of the bid price for sand plus $6 a yard to cover excavation and stockpile. This is a 5-year agreement. Years 2 through 5, we will provide 1,500 cubic yards of beach-compatible sand at no cost to Georgica, and an additional 1,000 yards if needed at the same cost.
The same conditions as the first.
Same conditions.
$6 over the actual
Correct,
cost
so this would be,
of the sand.
this would be a 5-year agreement.
This this has been a long process, and, did you want to make a motion on this?
Well, I wanted to just say one
Oh.
thing, if I may. You know, having read this and listened to the problems, the issues that we have at Georgica Pond, we are, as a body, deeply committed to the health of the pond, as is the association, those that are living around it. Having said that, you know, I think this is very fair, and I'm pleased that we are, you know, working in conjunction with the folks around the pond to continue to see the pond get healthy and stay healthy. And that's really what this is all about. Thank you.
Yeah, the easier it is to open this, the better for us and the public and the
Well,
association.
what this is an agreement, long-term, okay? Over the years, we've taken access from both east and west sides. Okay, there's been considerable acrimony on in the case of the Georgic Association for feeling that they didn't get anything in return for the use of their property, for access through their roads. And what we're hoping this does is remedy that. And as part of this application, I don't know whether Francis mentioned it.
No, I
There
know what you're
had
gonna
been
say.
considerable excavation
Yeah.
beyond what was probably appropriate for the removal of the sand in the past. We're gonna try and remedy that.
Right.
And basically reinforce the west side of that opening, so that hopefully if the pond lets naturally, the pond lets on our land, and it doesn't jeopardize the Georgic Association's land, it doesn't jeopardize the Rainers' land to the east, that this is a move to improve the relationship with all of the neighbors here.
Yeah, it's certainly a
It's
foresightful
also-
plan.
Yeah, yeah. It's also important to note that this is going to make draining the pond more productive. Because right now, what happens is, you know, right now there's a huge bar built up there. Even when you open it, the pond doesn't drain properly. So we're trying to just get everything back to where it's the best for the pond, best for the people around it, and the best for the trustees. And this has been going on for, what, months?
Well,
This
seems like
discussion.
forever.
It was sort of like forever, but,
Seems like.
Well, I think we all agree it's a
Okay.
beneficial departure from the
Yeah.
previous relationship.
everybody's been working on
The
this,
board and,
you know.
Georgia.
John, are we to understand that we are now good? The MOU in its current state is going to be accepted and approved?
This afternoon, and that's entirely acceptable with enthusiasm from the Georgia Association.
Awesome.
We're delighted that we've been able to reach an understanding with the trustees, and that a new day is dawning.
Yeah. Can we keep enthusiasm in the language of this MOU so we can sort of capture this moment?
I'm available.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept this.
I would second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
So, you could be corresponding.
Well, we have to,
After the DEC,
this
right?
is a vital part of getting the 10-year permit.
Yeah, that's the,
Fall would be the goal,
No.
dredging window.
yeah, we want to try and move as quickly as possible with this.
If we can get this back to the DEC now, and let's press them for a meeting to do the amendments on that permit.
I
so
spoke to
that-
George on Hammer on Friday.
How available is he?
I'm gonna, you know, I'll get ahold of him tomorrow,
All right.
okay? And we'll
And
see.
the only thing is, after that, we still have to work with the Army Corps.
Yeah, but those,
But I've been told that they are more than willing to be creative.
and all their questions
Can we,
we're not complicated, it was
Yeah.
all,
let's try and move it,
let's
man.
get it going.
Yeah,
Over the minute.
as fast as possible.
All right, Georgica Cove, dredging, excavation of bottleneck, I think that's,
Bruce was here last time.
yeah. Brad Lowen, I still don't have the information from the town on his grant application.
And Brett will be
So-
back on the 5th of September or thereafter, I believe.
Okay. William Sharp, Little Northwest Creek. I know you've been,
I was down at Little Northwest Creek last Monday. We were doing some oyster seeding with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I tried to meet with Mr. Sharp at that time, but he wasn't available, as we had discussed. But I did get a good look at the inlet and the beach, and the inlet for Little Northwest Creek has wrapped around to the west and is in front of some of the property owners' upland areas. It's not threatening anyone's property, but there's a lot of shoaling, the water exchange is very weak, and, sometimes maybe on lower tides, it may not even be getting any type of a flush inside. So there's certainly an opportunity to improve water exchange for the creek and to possibly improve the status of the beach to the west of the creek. The beach to the east looks really healthy and has a nice dune and beach grass on it, but it's a little broken up, a little choppy to the west.
Yeah, I've seen the aerial photos, and, it really just drifts
shoaly.
off to the west there for the inlet forever, and just kind of,
So if there's a
Very
real,
meandering.
will and passion from the homeowner community there to try and do a project, it might be something we want to
Whereabouts is
visit.
this located?
It's just east of the Ninva community,
Okay.
just west of Barcelona
kind of
Bluffs.
comes into the golf course area over there.
I don't think I've ever been over there.
It's a real pretty spot.
It's Barcelona.
All right.
And so I am going to follow up with Mr. Sharp. We do want to, he was going to meet with some of his neighbors and look into, some of the history there on the beach, et cetera, and we are hoping to get together soon.
Okay.
Now, is the state involved in the ownership of this property?
Well, in the periphery of the wetlands, I believe they have some ownership, and, Rick was going to take a little further look at some other aspects of that. But it is, I think, pretty well documented that the bottomland of the creek there is
They-
trustee
they
property.
Sort of want to straighten out.
Just straighten it out. I think it could be a pretty simple project and really help the health of the wetland.
This looks kind of,
That looks like a pretty simple
Yep, I think it's dig a little deep cut there, and,
excavator.
yep.
yeah.
So I think it's a real, doable project. And I think it would really help that water exchange situation there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a little,
It's actually very similar to the situation at Fresh Pond.
Really, actually, this looks like it could be even simpler. Looks like it might even be
Hopefully.
simpler than Fresh Pond. Except for your access.
yeah, well, that's the.
Is this?
There's a couple of community beaches to the west, Jim, that I think you could gain access from, and there is a road, a trustee road that actually comes down to the beach to the east through the Barcelona Next State Park. So I think there are two viable beach access
The
points.
trustee road that goes down by the DeMills?
Well, that one, then it actually forks, so there's a west
Okay.
branch as well that comes down through the state park.
Yeah.
All right.
You can take a
Yeah.
four-wheeler down there.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool,
Yeah, that could work.
You want to come,
because if you could come back all the way, you
yeah,
can see
you
it
come
shoveled
back
all the
into
way
there,
back
yeah.
to there.
That's, we could have to do that.
All right.
While we're on the old business, the topic of silted inlets and ponds, I think we should discuss Fresh Pond.
You know, we're gonna,
As you all know, somebody went through there and they dug out the inlet with a shovel to allow the pond to let a bit.
the pond's been actually running by itself.
I was just
the
there
whole
like 3
pond.
days ago, and it's
I've seen it run.
No, it's running, there was somebody
Few
dug a
weeks ago.
trench, but it's actually running along the back of the beach, and it's going out under the rocks on the jetty.
Mhm.
That trench doesn't really, it's pretty much dry. But,
when I was there, it was the
oh, I mean, at high
tide was
tide,
coming
it
out of the
might be
pond, and it was
flowing.
pulling. I saw a blue crab
Yeah, we
struggle
asked-
and wash
we
out
had-
through the little inlet that somebody had carved there.
Mhm.
And
There was some high numbers down there from Surfrider.
Yeah.
We got one that was apparently right in the vicinity of the restroom.
it looks pretty
So
rusty in there.
Francis contacted Dr. Goldberg and had him put it on the schedule of things to look at, so.
So that Fresh Pond has now been added to our current contract with him for continued testing for the
Right,
rest of the
that's
season.
excellent.
I want to find out what the real numbers are and what's going on, and I talked to Hammerith again about we're gonna be putting a new application in to dredge for a new 10-year dredge permit for
Yeah, that's
fresh
excellent.
pond?
for Fresh Pond.
Excellent.
I mean,
Yeah.
currently, what's the standing of permits there? Do we have anything?
No,
No.
Because, I mean, we had planned to do
permits
this,
there
we had planned to
We
do
had
this last
that-
winter.
we had that
Right, and it didn't happen.
situation.
Yeah, I know, we understand, we all understand why it didn't happen, but yeah.
It's, but anyhow, and I spoke to him about the possibility of extending it, but the original permit was given out more than 10 years ago, so we have to make a new application.
Yeah.
I have all the information for the application actually right here.
And in light of the high levels, even
Yeah.
though
Okay.
I think it's coming from the bathrooms,
If,
that might
yeah,
speed
but I
it
mean, if
along.
we're able, if Gobler's testing is able to patently identify our own bathrooms, town-owned bathrooms,
Town
as the-
should do
as-
something about
as
it.
the source of the problem, this is a great opportunity for the town to actually affect something on their own, and quite honestly, I don't think over in that area, I don't think you're gonna do a septic system, even one of these new systems,
The new one you
That's-
can't because it has to be used constantly.
that's gonna be effective, but what the answer may be is something that's just containment, that is a maintenance item that's gonna need to get pumped out.
Yeah, just a holding tank and pump it out. yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
A
because,
vault.
because the overall amount of effluent that you're dealing with here, it's not like you got a restaurant down there. I think that probably would be something that you could execute, it would be cost effective.
You have some crowds down there on weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
okay, but
yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
You build that into a schedule of
Yeah.
pump outs, but it would be nice if we could actually fix something that
Absolutely.
that's within the realm of our own,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not
culpability and
something,
responsibility.
I mean, the town is looking for ways to get rid of nitrogen and stuff. This is, their own building,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But we get the information back from Gobler, we'll,
That'll be great. And, I mean, the issue still stands that it needs to be dredged ASAP.
well, it definitely.
So, I mean, I guess
irregardless,
my understanding was that, since we'd missed the window in the winter because of the bidding
But
process
it-
being messed up,
it's-
that we were going to do it in the fall.
Now the
This is something-
permit
But it's
expired.
looking now that we are
But
not
this,
able to get
this
it
is
done.
something.
No, we knew that all along.
Yeah.
Right.
We were rushing to get one opening done before the permit ran out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, right.
This seems like something that when we get the numbers, shouldn't be too difficult to get. I mean, it's, there's nothing around it, but with all these permits, the testing is kind of vital.
Yeah, the testing's excellent. I'm happy for that.
Of course, it's important to get the right contractor who's gonna go way up there
Yeah,
into the pond and not just scratch the front, which was
yeah,
another issue we had in the
Yeah.
past when we were thinking of, who was gonna do it, so,
yeah, well,
okay.
Right, that was the plan before, just to kind of get the front. But now we can get the whole thing done, which will be a much more beneficial project.
And there are guys out there that have the experience and know the pond well.
Mm-hmm. All right, committee reports, Acabonacog Creek, the mosquito no spray trial area.
okay, we did the last bunch of tests today. We had the students from.
Yeah, it's the
Stony
last day
Brook out
today.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't find any mosquito larvae.
no, it was very dry today, right?
And there were 4 of us out there going into everything. The marshes are kind of dry. It hasn't, we've got rain.
I talked to Melissa a bit about it. She gave me kind of an update. I was
Yeah,
trying to
she
come
said
this
she
morning, but
found-
I
She found a couple larvae in an old
Right.
canoe.
I have some major
Yeah,
car
that was the-
issues, so I didn't make it this morning, but,
That was the bunch of it. So anyhow, when we had started this program, we had made a commitment to pay the interns. So Melissa sent Lori a final list of, 2 girls worked for like 5 days over the course of, the thing, and one of the students worked for 2 days, I believe. But Lori has the list, and we have their names, so I'd
So
like
that-
to make a motion to,
They're gonna put in time cards, right?
we'll get some kind
And
of
then we'll-
documentation.
Pay them
What are
from
we
the
putting
time
a
cards.
motion in to do, pay 'em?
Pay them, yeah.
Okay, I'd like to second that.
And then it's gonna be 500, it's $100 a day, is that right?
That's what we
So
discussed.
so
So
two
of them-
interns at 500, one at 200,
Yeah.
$1,200
Yeah.
total.
it's pretty nice compensation, and they deserve it. They did a good job from what I was,
No, they
when
did
I
a
was
good
out there with
job.
them. They're really knowledgeable and passionate, so.
We have a
So-
second?
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jim made
Actually,
the
I thought
motion.
that Bill introduced it. Okay.
Okay, we did Lionhead Beach, Clearwater Beach Property Owners Association, bulkhead replacement. Committee report,
It's not
nothing?
Is this
Right, are
being
we-
done in conjunction with the other one?
No, I
it's a
think
separate
it's
project.
separate.
Have you been over there, Tyler?
Didn't we finish this Clearwater Beach issue? I thought we were,
We were
All set with
referring
that.
to something that was done last year,
right.
different from, no. Oh, this may very well be the same.
I thought so, because
Yeah.
that's the replacement of the bulkhead, which was the return issue. I think it's just on there twice.
But that was
Well, it's the
Lion-
other side.
No, it's Lionhead that had bulkhead return.
No, there's
Right.
two.
Clearwater's different.
Clearwater's different.
We're talking Lionhead now?
We already did.
Oh, that was- that
Drew
was
was
been-
here for
right,
that.
right.
So now
Now
we're
we
talking
also
Clearwater?
have Clearwater, yes.
Um,
They're separate from,
Right.
Right, of course. I'm sorry, I don't quite remember what the issue was there.
so we'll just table it.
Does it need to be inspected? Is there finished work that should be inspected? Is it,
It's old business. Committee reports. Do you have a copy of it?
there it is.
Why don't you look at it and we'll table it till our next meeting?
Okay. Yeah, I think Dan was gonna look at this too.
Yeah, it came in July 5th, and
Yeah, I know.
they're not going to do anything right away, so.
Right,
it's
the
not-
printing window's not even open yet, so.
Cool.
Or the windows works, for the work's not open. All right. I'll pore over this more thoroughly.
Take a look at it, Tyler.
Okay.
Application of U.S. Information Systems dock repair. I think Diane had that one, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, I do have the permit, the application here, and I've been looking it over at the meeting. Again, I think we'll have to look at that a little more closely and see. I'll talk to Diane about what she thinks about it so far.
You'll have an answer on both of them.
Sure,
Let's just
definitely,
table it.
definitely.
That's fine.
And notification of commencement from Rosecan,
I think-
Bluff Restoration on Kings
Yeah,
Point Road.
guys, this isn't my committee, but I think that's a typo. Should be a notice of completion on Rosecam.
I know they were
Well,
already
it's
working.
an email from Drew saying that it was started.
When did he send it to you?
Replanting?
What's the
I know we
date on it?
extended their
Everything
permit at
was-
some point.
Yeah, now it's planting it.
Kings Point?
Yeah.
August 14th. Well, actually, it was
If that's done, yeah,
completed.
it's fine.
It was completed by the 10th, so
Okay.
I think he made a,
A typo.
so it's a little typo.
That would make sense. It was a
job's
while ago
done.
that they
Been done for a while.
started, I thought, yeah. All right, I'll take a,
Someone should go down
I'll
and
make a
take
final
look at
inspection of it then.
And make
should
sure you
go
have the,
inspect
that.
Hey, when you
as-built
get
survey.
there, you are gonna notice there is some temporary deer fencing around some beach plums at the top of the bluff.
Okay,
That was just because they were plucking every leaf off.
yeah, fair enough. It's good to
And
protect
you
those.
should have the as-built survey with you.
Yeah.
We should have that in the folder so you can obviously compare what's going
Great,
on.
I'll stop by the office and get that,
Yeah.
and check it out.
All right, beaches. 199 Lily Pond Lane, LLC, rock
Okay.
revetment.
That one there, Diane and I had looked at that a while ago. This is an InterScience application. The plan is to basically reconstruct an existing rock revetment along the beach there. What we noticed is when they made the application, it was all complete with respect to the revetment. There's an existing crossover deck that's
Stairway kind
there
of thing, yeah.
that is all out of CCA lumber. They're obviously gonna have to replace it as part of this. We wanted us to get it basically a complete document here, so we asked them to include that. They have hired an engineer. The engineer was on vacation. They expect to have this complete and back to us by mid-September, so.
Okay.
Gansett Dunes, I think we're just waiting for a document authorizing one of their members to act as their agent here. And 3, the proposed amendments to the village code. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not up on that at all.
On the brush, on the fires?
Yeah,
It was,
Yeah,
they didn't certain
be-
time limit.
Yeah, I looked at this, and this is very similar, if not identical, to what the town has now with regards to its rules and regs on beach fires, the metal containers, having the bucket of water in close proximity. You gotta be 100 feet from anything combustible, such as a lifeguard stand. They want you to be 100 feet, I believe, from 50 feet from any beach grass, and of course, 200 feet from any bird nesting. So basically, you can put your fire in the parking lot, because that's about what's left.
Well, what they're doing, what they're really doing is, right now, the regulation reads that there are no fires allowed on the beach between midnight and 6 p.m.
6 for the town, 5 for the town. I mean, the village, they recommend 6.
The village is 6.
That's like their code yet.
It is 6 now.
Right.
All they're doing is, they're just changing the wording from 6 to 12. So from 12 to 6 to 6 to 12.
Yeah, I did
And
follow up on
it's
this
just to be
too.
consistent with the rest of the regulations that they have in place.
Yeah, you know, understandably, the local community out here, you know, is really resistant to anything that's a code change or anything that represents any kind of more restrictive use of, you know, of our beaches and things.
But there
And
is
I
no
heard-
change in
No, I'm
restrictions.
just,
Yeah.
let me go on. So, you know, I've heard that from multiple people when I kind of polled some people about this issue. And of course, I followed up with Village Hall, and I talked to Becky Molnar on the phone, and she basically explained the same situation that they have. If you look on their website, it currently says, no beach fires, you know, or beach fires only permitted from 6 o'clock till midnight. But I asked her about that, it's not actually in the code, not actually codified yet. So apparently they closed their town hall, or they close up, and they want to be able to have, at 5, I guess, where the town closes at 4, so they want to be able to get out there and check things out. They can't get out there till 6 or so to check, so they want to have it an hour later. So, I understand. It's already kind of the case there, so I hope people aren't worried that this is, you know, a further restriction of beach fires or anything like that. It really actually is the same as the current
Correct.
code for the current recommendations in the village. It's just actually codifying it. And I mean, I'd love to see it be 5 o'clock instead of 6, but apparently it's not really, the village isn't really capable of that because they're still working at 5.
So are they looking for a motion?
They're looking for us to to permit them to go ahead with the changing of the words.
So I would make a motion to that effect then.
Do we have a second?
I haven't had a chance to read this, I'm not gonna vote on this
Okay.
tonight.
We held it up last meeting.
Okay, well.
I
listen,
understand, I
I'm
understand.
only one guy here.
I know,
Just- I'm
I
not
know.
trying to be
We're
difficult.
short, no, I know.
Yeah,
I don't
We're
wanna
short
make
of
a
people.
let
comment
me make a second,
without-
okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a second. This is basically just to, say you can't start a fire before 6 o'clock.
Okay, but I'm not looking.
No, I
you know,
understand it,
I'm not looking
no,
at it,
okay.
so.
All right, so we'll table it.
Listen,
No, we're not tabling it.
Well, we
I made a
can't- we-
motion.
Oh, we don't have enough?
Well, if the 5 of us were to vote yes, it would still.
1,
quorum.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. All right, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I made the motion. Bill, you seconded it. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not big on it, but,
I'm against it,
Okay.
not for any reason other than I haven't read it.
I'll table, you know, I'll withdraw my motion.
Nothing's
For next
changed.
week.
yeah,
That's the only reason I'm going with it.
it's the same as it currently is.
Yeah, all the setbacks are there.
All right, might as well give them permission to
All right,
actually
let's-
codify their existing rules instead of holding them up.
Okay.
Aye.
So it's
Thank you.
passed then, okay?
All right, Georgia Ponds.
Okay, One Association Road, my wife really likes it, it's the only one. What they did, just to give you some background, this is one that started out as an excavation project for Phragmites. They went through the process, they actually got their DEC permits for the excavation on the Phragmites. They did not look like they were gonna get them from the ZBA. So they came back with a little different application at not this past meeting, the meeting before, which was for a cutting approach. I contacted their agent, explained that we still would want to see, because presently, there's nearly no buffer, okay? And you've got a fairly steep grade leading down to the water. You have a highly maintained piece of property. You can tell that it's irrigated wall to wall. It's maintained. I contacted their agent, told them our position was, irregardless of the method, the Phragmites is functioning as a buffer right now, that if they want to get the approval, we're going to look for a buffer, a vegetated buffer
Good,
along
yeah.
there. So we're waiting to hear
It has nothing.
whether that's going
You've
to
been
happen.
around with them for a long time.
Yes.
So I
It's
have
been-
to
it's
say
been
this
going
has
on for
been going
years.
on
Find out if we'll ever really like it.
A year and a half.
a year and a half. and,
Okay.
um,
And the next one was Weil.
We
That
did
one
that
we
one.
voted, we approved. Number 2, Perella. I am pleased to say that we finally received an unadulterated survey showing the proposed areas of the core fiber rolls.
Not in crayon?
This combined with the artwork that was presented earlier, I would like to make a motion to approve this. If anybody would like to look at the survey here, you're welcome to, but I think this pretty clearly
Yeah, we've
depicts
been through this.
where these core logs are gonna go,
Okay.
without basically destroying the survey.
Having gone down there with you, Jim, and by all means, let these guys look at it, but make a motion to accept the,
Well, will you second my
Second
motion?
the motion, because he made the motion.
I'm sorry, yeah, I would second it, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else want to see this?
I'll take a peek. Sure. I kind of liked the artwork from last time, too.
Yeah, well,
Wasn't as thorough as this, of course, but
Let's see.
It's probably more correct.
yeah, it seemed like a reasonable project, actually, when you first
it's really
described
benign.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it really is.
It's sad,
It's
this whole thing got way more complicated than it needed to be.
Yep.
Okay, all in
Got some
favor?
rush, some...
Aye.
Eric's, aye.
All right. Harbor Management Report.
Yes. On August 16th, we had a Harbor Management Committee meeting, and the Deepwater Wind Management Team joined us, and they gave an excellent presentation on the environmental parameters of the project. They had 2 of their scientific experts at the meeting. They gave a great presentation, focusing on impacts of the project, how they were surveying the bottomlands in the area of the proposed wind farm site, methodologies for running the cable, some pretty spirited dialogue between some of the local fishermen and members of the Deepwater management team. We put a strong emphasis on our interest in seeing the cable route moved from the north side to the south side and come ashore somewhere along the ocean beaches. But overall, their team was very forthright, and I think they put a good foot forward to try and explain what they're doing. The survey work and the scientific research is underway at this time, so they didn't have all of their information available. But they are planning to join us one more time to present all of their findings before the end of the year. So I was encouraged that they're continuing to share information with us. We do have another meeting scheduled with the Deepwater Wind Management Team on October 4th, which possibly will be our next Harbor Management Committee meeting. But they have confirmed that date for a Deepwater Wind Management meeting, and that will focus on community benefits, how they'll be tying into the grid, what that may offer the community. Is there an opportunity for behind-the-meter solar to complement Deepwater? So I think that'll be another really good discussion. So if any members of the public would care to join us, we are going to try and find a bigger venue for the meeting because it was hot and it was packed.
Yeah, that place, is
So I
there,
don't think you could even get in the
can we
in the
get
door.
into this room, or would it be worth trying to rent the Legion?
It's possible. I'd like to look for an alternative location for that.
Now, Rick, did they give any indication that they would be willing to relocate turbine sites to accommodate
Yes.
the fishing?
You know, in terms of the bottomland, they don't want to impact cobble bottom, anything that's habitat, nursery, or forage. Those are the three main criteria we're trying to avoid contact with. And if there is unproductive bottomland that would be benign in terms of the impact, that's what we're striving for. Captain Forsberg from the Viking Fleet spoke, and he's like, are you willing to move these 300, 500, 200 feet if necessary to protect habitat? And their answer at the meeting was yes.
Okay.
So there's a willingness to
Just
try and
moving
cite
here.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew Carey from Inspire Environmental is their main consultant. He's a PhD in, marine science, and he's their main guy doing the survey. He tried to articulate how they were doing the photography of the bottomland to identify the composition, any marine life, plant life that might be in place, and try and avoid these areas. So we do have minutes being prepared on the meeting if anyone would care to review them. And, what I was really pleased about is their interest in coming back to present all of their findings. So,
Yeah. They have nothing to do with the battery locations in Montauk, do they?
no, that's not their
Yeah, it's
area.
a separate issue.
So I'm really interested in seeing them, present their final findings from all their environmental work.
Good, it's good to have this continued public
Yeah.
discussions on
and
this.
the idea was, and we seem to have a conceptual agreement with them, is to come to a consensus
Do they know those people?
for the scope of the
That's what
project.
I mean, they're all the same people.
Now, for a next meeting, is it feasible to do it in Montauk maybe or something, like at the Playhouse?
Well, we're
town
gonna
board
look at
does
some,
things at
we're gonna
the
look at some
Playhouse.
options.
Yeah.
In terms
Be
of a
another
bigger
possible option to get
space, maybe
Closer for people in Montauk to get even
the life-saving station,
closer to it.
yeah.
Um,
Right now, Amagansett
Well, I
is
don't
kind of
think Montauk's
centralized.
going to be affected by it at all, to be honest
Well,
with you. I mean, the
of
fishermen
Montauk could be,
are,
right, yeah.
the fishermen are, but.
So fishermen who live in Montauk, it's less of a drive to get there. I don't know, just saying the
Yeah,
Playhouse
that's
could
a
be,
good
the
idea.
Playhouse could be an option
Sure.
for a meeting space instead of having to pay for the Legion
Try and
Hall.
report on a confirmed location at the next meeting.
Was there any discussion about, I've heard from people, members of the public that if they move the cable to the south, which, we'd like to see them do to avoid Gardner's Bay, I think, but some people feel, how are they gonna keep it covered if it comes in on the ocean, and how, that's
They-
a
they
major issue. Did they
explained-
talk about that at all? And-
Yeah,
and
well, they
did they feel
explained-
hesitant about bringing it into the ocean?
No, they explained the methodology for how the cable would be installed through a conduit along the ocean beach, and basically from the parking lot, they would dig deeply, and they can go out.
Directional drill,
Directional
it's
drilling.
6 feet below the bottom in the water area. Once they hit the beach, they do directional drilling down. And I think they said 10 feet below or more below the projected lowest sand height after a
major
major hurricane.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's,
Well, the only
Pretty
difficult
comprehensive.
thing, guys, with this is when you do get into running those cables. I've actually heard this rap when they ran the cables underground through Hither Woods and that. We all heard the same thing. The cable as it comes down North Shore Road is only about a foot below grade, okay? And that was supposed to be, when they did that, that cable was supposed to be, I think, between 3 and 4 feet down. If you grade North Shore Road, you're exposing the tape for the cable. Typically, that tape is only put about a foot above the material.
When was
So
that installed?
that was turning 20 years ago or so.
Yeah. I'm
You know what I
sure
mean?
nobody
There's
was paying
these
attention
things,
to
yeah,
it.
these things, sometimes when somebody's telling you, oh, we're gonna do
We're
this,
gonna do this.
believe me, you're gonna have to, somebody's gonna have to monitor and verify that.
That's the whole,
All
the
things
whole
at the
devil's
close
in the
screen
details.
side,
We have
yeah.
to stay on top of
Expect
them.
that.
I mean,
there are surveys underway regarding the potential landing site on the south side. Hither, the Napeague State Park was one consideration, Napeague Lane, Atlantic Avenue, Beach Lane. They all have pros and cons.
Yeah.
It's looking like
think-
Beach Lane and Wainscott is preferred at this point.
From a cost perspective and a proximity to the,
where they're gonna hook
to the
up rest of
substation.
it, yeah.
so we'll have to see.
Some
Yeah,
people like,
that's our land there. Would they compensate the trustees for,
There's discussion about community benefits.
Yep,
Yeah.
community benefits on
that'll
October
be
4th
discussed at the next meeting.
would be a great
Wonderful.
discussion point.
And that discussion will include like compensation for any fishermen who might,
Yeah.
have
There's-
less work.
It's going to be a very
because of this.
spirited discussion. There's also members of the sustainable energy community that are interested in seeing, maybe a pilot solar project in the community that the cable comes ashore in to help, the community that welcomes this project. So there's lots of different
And they're
discussions
talking
going
about
on.
Possibly burying existing overhead lines along with this. There's a lot of
There's some
discussions.
Horse trading going on.
All right,
give and take.
all right, good.
Maybe the community where it comes
job.
to shore will be, get all their power lines buried.
That would be great. And I agree that solar is a huge piece of the puzzle of getting us 100% renewable out here, so.
It is,
It's all-
right now, peak demand is in the summer, and we have the lightest winds in the summer. So
Yeah,
when
I
I
don't
was
think wind alone
out
can really
fishing
do it.
recently near Block Island, you watch the turbines, and
It's
they're
going,
not really moving. So it's certainly not
It's
going to be a
not quite
peak.
exactly what they said it was.
It's not really a
Yeah.
peak load supply
Yeah.
source,
yeah. Well, this,
but it has a lot of
none of these
promise.
things are exactly as
Absolutely.
they say they're going to be.
Okay.
All right, 3 Mile Harbor,
With regards to both of those, one being 3 Mile Harbor Marina, and the other PND Hamptons at 10 3 Mile Harbor Drive, we're still waiting for as-built surveys.
okay.
All right.
Lori, what were we talking about with him today? Do we not have a permit at all for the work he did?
We have a permit, but the application that he gave us before you guys gave him the permit, in that application, it mentioned that he might have to replace pilings, but the permit did not
Include that,
indicate piling replacement.
right. Yeah.
Or sand replacement.
The permit was issued, I think, in 2000.
It was, yeah.
So really, I think the only thing we can do is get a current survey, or the most current survey, and see what was done.
I spoke to him a few weeks back, and he told me that his guy was preparing a as-built survey, and he would notify us, and then I'll go down and see what exactly has been done.
Kind of hard to do an as-built for a project that's 17 years old.
But I think he did recent work, because those pilings look pretty green to me, and I don't recall seeing a few
I
of
think
them.
we're gonna end up having to get him to file an application
For a permit.
for a permit for the work that was done without a permit.
We'll see what
Did
it looks
he-
like when we
Yeah.
Okay,
get
But
his,
did he have other permits? Has he got an existing DEC permit we could look at?
that's all we have.
yeah, I'm not certain.
I mean, he'd have to, does he have, he might have other permits and not have a trustee permit, in which
Or he
case,
may not have any.
or he may not have any permits at all, which,
Right. So it's a bit of a, yeah, a bit of a discovery,
there's a couple,
and
couple
I'll
people.
go down there with the as-built and get to the bottom of it. Okay.
All right. Administrative, payment of the bills. Star Island Yacht Club, $274.25. Seacoast Enterprise Associates, $865.50. That was for pump-out boat maintenance. Art Plank Studios, $449.20. And that's for plaques for the Clam contest.
Great.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have some minutes. Minutes from April 24th.
Yeah, I've taken a look at the minutes from April 24th and
As have I.
for May 8th. And I'm okay with them with the amendments submitted by Diane. So the original minutes plus the amendments, I'd like to approve.
Okay, I'll second that.
So
Yeah,
that's
I'll-
April 24th and May.
24th and May 8th, I'm good with as well. I looked at those, I looked at the May 22nd as well. It seemed fine, but if
I haven't looked at them.
you
but
looked at them, that's, I mean, we can,
Let's,
I'm okay
Now,
with them.
I had an opportunity to look at May 22nd, and so did you.
do you have any changes or anything?
No,
No?
I don't, so I would make a motion that we accept them as well.
I'll second that motion,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
of both
Okay.
motions, yeah.
And
26th.
Uh,
Brian,
believe 2 motions were made altogether there, and they were both passed in that, okay, great, so.
Did anyone look at June
24th,
12th?
May 8th, May 22nd? I really haven't had a chance to go through June 12th.
I have not looked at
Okay.
June 12th.
All right.
We can hold that over till next week.
Yep. That was good, we got 3 done.
Yeah, we got 3 done, that's
It's
good.
nice we're catching.
And financial report for the month ended July 31st. Has anyone had a chance to glance at that? There's been no large expenditures. Not a lot of changes here.
I would make a motion that we accept them.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, report of the clerk.
Can I say one thing? I think
Yeah.
the new website looks really great. Just want to commend, all the work Rick did to get that going.
Oh, thank you,
I
Tom.
think it looks good, and I urge everyone out there to check out the new website that we have. It's been up for a little while, but it's
Do
looking
you
good, and
wanna,
I'm hoping more people will come check it out and see what we've done with it.
What is the address, we could tell the public?
Same address.
Yeah, same address?
Well, it's ehtrustees.com.
Yeah, you can go to ehtrustees.com. There's a longer real address, but ehtrustees.com is the shorter, easy to remember.
Yeah, we are trying to get some more community information up there.
Yeah.
Dr. Gobler's water testing results, some more information.
Clam contest.
Largest clam contest, we'll have the rules and regs will be up tomorrow.
Excellent.
Great.
And information about the shellfish hatchery. And, Brian had made a suggestion, maybe doing some local weather and tide information to make it a little more of a, community information-based site.
Cool, we could see if we
Yeah,
could
I
link
think that'd
to
be great.
NOAA or something like that.
We're gonna
Yeah.
continue working on that. John from Hampton's Web Design has done a nice job for us, so he's been good to work with. Thanks, Tom.
Of course.
Okay, largest clam contest. Preparations are in progress. That's going to be held on Sunday, September 24th. What's the time? Noon.
At noon.
High noon.
Okay.
Bring your clams.
The shadows are small.
All right, kayak rack repairs. We got an email that the ones in Louse Point still need to be repaired.
Yeah, what are we doing
Jim
with
has
that? Okay,
picked up the materials for that.
excellent.
And you've spoken to somebody who will supposedly take care of the other one?
Yeah, I'm very close to that, and I'll stay on top of it. The gentleman's on vacation till next week.
I believe the one down at Hands Creek needs a post, and it's either 2 or 3 rails.
You know what?
Somebody
Let's
stole the
just-
post.
Let me just go down and take a look at it, because it might be something that we can just do, if that's what.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
look at it, and that's,
Yeah.
if someone physically removed one post, believe it or not.
Okay.
And we were served notice in a case from an accident in Ditch Plains, so we're passing that off to Rick. Certainly, we won't be involved in that.
We got noticed on a case in Ditch Plains.
Yeah, some kid got hit in the head with a board, and
Yeah. Did he start?
we
did
were
he
named
st-
in it.
Did he start out somewhere farther
Place
west?
like White Sands and.
They clearly don't know what
Yeah.
they're.
That's a far reach.
That we have to.
And then I was just gonna report that Gobler's testing Fresh Pond within our current contract.
Excellent.
Correspondence, we have notice from Vector Control on aerial mosquito spraying. And Conic Estuary Program, August CAC meeting, overview. We'll link that on the website, is that,
You can do so.
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop by the office tomorrow and do some updates.
Okay, does anybody have anything else?
I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
All right.